making percent conclusions from a two-way table, a two-way frequency table, where we're counting how many males we have total, 15, how many females total, 13, how many total students have 8 pairs of shoes or less, 19, how many have 9 pairs or more, 20. So we're counting how many in each category. To make a conclusion, we need to make a fraction, and you first need to pick a total to go in the denominator, okay? Any of these gray totals is totally fine. I'm gonna do 2 different conclusions using a couple different ones. So first I'm gonna use the 28, my corner total, and that 28 represents every single student in my survey, all of them. So once you select your total, that bottom number, go ahead and start your sentence explaining that number. Out of all the students surveyed. Out of all the students surveyed. Now, in order to continue my sentence, I need to go pick a part where I'm gonna go compare it and see a little and break it down a little bit more. So I chose my total of 28 out of all the students surveyed, and now I can go choose any single number I want in the entire thing. I'm gonna go over and choose this 8 up here, okay? Now, once I have my fraction, I need to turn that into a percent. So I'm gonna divide my fraction, 8 divided by 28, then times 100, and boom, I have my 28.57%. So out of all the students surveyed, I chose the 8, which comes out to 28.57%. And what does that 8 represent? After you bring your percent down, we have to go explain, where did we get that 8? Oh, those were the females that have 8 pairs of shoes or less. So 28.5% were females with less than 8 pairs. So the first part of my sentence came from the denominator, that bottom number. The next part of my sentence came after I chose the smaller total. Let's try another one. In order to do a percent conclusion, we're gonna make a fraction, and I'm gonna start by choosing my bottom number, which is also gonna help me start my sentence. So I'm gonna choose this 23. You always have to pick a total for your bottom of the fraction. Now, since I chose this 23, I have to choose one of the numbers right next to it that's talking about the males once I get to the top of my fraction. We'll get there in a minute. But that 23 is talking about all of the males that I talked about. So out of the males, comma, and that's it. There's the start of my sentence. I chose my total and I turned it into a sentence. Out of the 23 males, now I'm gonna go choose one of these numbers. I'll choose the 4. And now I need to turn that into a percent. 4 divided by 23 times 100, 17.39. Okay, so out of the males, 17.39%. And now go explain, where the hell did we get that 4 from? Oh, they were males that sent 50 snaps or less. Oh, 17% send 50 snaps or less. The first part of my sentence came from the total. The second part of my sentence came from that smaller number I chose on top. One more, just to make sure we lock it in. So to make your conclusion, we're gonna make our fraction and we'll go choose our total. I've already chosen a male or female total and the grand total, so I'm gonna choose one of these totals down here. I'm gonna choose this 30. And that's gonna be the start of my sentence. That 30 is the total of how many students have lived here for 3 or more years. So out of the students, who have lived in Denver for more than 3 years, so boom, I chose my total and I went and turned it into a sentence. Out of the students who have lived in Denver for more than 3 years, comma, Now, if I chose this total, I have to choose one of those parts up right above it. I'll choose the 13. I'll need to go turn that into a percent now. 13 divided by 30 times 100, 43.3%. And now we need to go explain that percent and that part. So out of that 30, out of the students who have lived in Denver for more than 3 years, 43.3% were, and what is that number describing? Men. The first part of the sentence came from the total. The second part of the sentence came from wherever you got the top number from.